What is the origin of the Hellenic zodiac? How come that directions and the sectors of the circle and the sphere have their own gods and goddesses, the famous 12 gods of Greece and Rome? Since the number 12 was produced by mixture of the perfect number 3 and the productive number 4, comprehending the whole divine order of the gods, and the rulers of 3 and 4 are the monad and the dyad. Iter would be the monad, chaos, the dyad, the third, the egg, for this is perfect, the fourth, phanes. I would relegate you to the theology of arithmetics by Iamblichus. Hecate, the goddess Hecate, in the Neoplatonic understanding, on the one hand is said to rotate the 12 as defining the limits of the whole divine number, and Dionysus on the other hand is said to have been allotted the 13th as being one of the gods and of those deified. There were many attempts of trying to add a 13th god to the zodiac, whether in the fantasies of John Chrysostom, the Christian, that Alexander was usurping this right, or any other. This was always a failed enterprise. Let us remember that the 12 apostles of Christianity originally were the 12 gods of Rome and Greece. And as far as I'm concerned, they never replaced the original powers and forces with some mortal Galilean sectarians. Citing Varro, Varro thinks that there are gods who are within and the deepest recesses of heavens, of whom we say that we know neither their number nor their names. The Etruscans call them the consentes and complices, and report that they rise and set together, 6 males and the same number of females. But their names are unknown, and they have very little pity, but they are considered the advisors of Jupiter on high and chief gods. Moreover, all the disembodied gods are infinite in number, just like the stars, and uncountable by human effort, but in the 12 in the zodiac, they are defined according to the measure of the 12. Plato at any rate assumed that the number 12 befitted the disembodied gods as a perfect number. The word is completed in dodecad or the decad, depending on the system we use. As a perfect number and one produced from the chief of all numbers and made up from perfect numbers, and he included all the revolutions in this measure. For he refers all their kind and their peculiarities to the number 12 and limits them according to it. The dodecad of the disembodied gods has been shown by us to proceed from on high triadically, but multiplied by 4 below. Therefore of those chief gods who make up this number, one triad was allotted the creative and paternal, one triad the genetic and life-producing, one triad the elevating, and one the undefiled and likewise protective. Moreover, of those arranged in triads, as has been said, the highest place in the creative triad was allotted from above by Nous to Zeus, Jupiter, setting in order souls and bodies and concerned with all things, as Socrates says. Then Poseidon completes the middle part of the creation and especially governs the spiritual order, for he is the god who causes movement and all birth, from the waters. The soul is the very first of the things produced in movement according to being, and Hephaestus inspires the nature of the bodies and makes all the gods seats in the universe. Of the protective and unmoved right, Hestia is first because she preserves the very existence of things and keeps their being undefiled. Athena guards the intermediate creatures, unswerving in intellect and spontaneous life, lifting them up from matter. Ares shines power upon the creatures in bodily form. Demeter rules the life-giving, wholly producing all life in the universe, intellectual, spiritual, and that inseparable from the body. Hera keeps the middle part, devoting herself to the production of the soul. For the intellectual goddess sent forth all the emanations of other spiritual entities from herself. Artemis was allotted the end, arousing all the natural logoi into activity, and completing the self-sufficiency of matter. Furthermore, of the last uplifting triad, Hermes is leader of philosophy, and through it he leads souls up, and with his dialectical power sends them in whole and in part, up to the good itself. Aphrodite is the prime moving cause of the erotic inspiration pervading all things and adapts those lives led up by her to the beautiful. Apollo, through music, completes all things and corrects all things, moving them all together, as Socrates says, and drawing them through harmony and rhythm towards the intellectual truth and delight there. In general, we say about all things that seating themselves above the things in the universe, they hold together the whole chorus of the disembodied and have their soul attached to them, intellectual and, as it were, powers productive of souls. How should we understand it? If we begin from the axiom that ontological forces and various variable powers in the universe exist, then this was a hermetic attempt to name them, to henotheistically give them a mask, and redeify in parts of these stories, in myth, in theology, highly complex theology, the idea that human being may approximate about those forces. So the creators were considered the triad Zeus, Poseidon, Hephaestus, the gods were Hestia, Athena and Ares, the life-givers Demeter, Hera, Artemis, and the uplifter Hermes, Aphrodite, Apollo. You may wonder why Saturn or Kronos is not included. This is because he was considered the father of the gods. In the Orphic mysteries, Kronos is the highest god of the universe. We shouldn't personify those forces in any way. If we lift them up to the meta level of the understanding of the forces itself, of time, space, transience, events, phenomena in time, biological developments, the developments of the solar systems, of the stars, of the universe, then we may say that we are dealing with purely physically objective science. However, if we hypostasize it to the level of powers and forces, we arrive at the divine order in a perfect manner. In all this, you might ask, why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I busying myself with ancient classical philosophy and theology in the modernity that has its own menaces, troubles, issues, wars, insanities? Is it because I want to build a citadel around my head and ignore it? Absolutely not. It is because it is your individual walk in redeification, despite what the world does. And from the biomass to develop a pneuma in the pneumatosphere is a truly remarkable feature. It is not to be blind to the wars and insanities of modernity. It is to do whatever in your strength to lift yourself up and beckon forth. Because it's your business. It's not your business to do politics if you're not a politician. It's not your business to be a general if you're not a general in position of power. You don't close your eyes to these insanities. You walk with the gods. And I think that is rehumanizing every single person that attempts to do something about himself, herself. If you want to be a political animal, go engage in politics. It's so easy said, right? But everything leading to this point in the world is a consequence of the Judeo-Christian lie. Every single thing. A metaphysical catastrophe. 1. A catastrophe of the socio-historical orders. 2. The great destruction and insanity, the hiccup, the vomit of Judeo-Christianity that we are witnessing exactly now at this point in our lives and time. So sentimentally, I'm reburying the pages, in touch with the traditions and the golden chain of initiations, in order to lift myself up, for better or worse. And I'm committed to delivering those lectures in order to inspire you not only to commit to this world, but to commit to the gods. This was a natural order as written in Pemada. First the gods, then the world, at the very last the human mortals. If you are the caretakers of the world, and you destroy this world, you are garbage, rubbish, both to divinity and the world, right? So go and do as you please in this wretched time, as Saturnium Regnum turned into an iron cage of destruction. By your own choices. Red is dead, red is dead. I seek no blame because there is no blame on me. That irrelevant Galilean Jew was no one, and I wash my hands. Personally. Those who wanted power over the souls, hearts and minds got it. And they've destroyed all of them. Good old Roman Republican law. Thou shalt not indoctrinate or convince the mind and souls of others towards your filthy religion, especially the Galilean one, the Judaistic one, sectarians, Christians, huh? Hail you winged Hellenic Muse, Golden Lady, thank you.